Hey, how you guys doing out there? James Humphrey with Associates Productions Movie Reviews. It's Jimmy, the usual team. And today, we're talking
Suicide Squad. Yeah, tongue-tied there.
Yeah. Suicide Squad. First one came out in 17, 18?
I think so.
Before COVID?
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking it came out in 2016.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Who cares? And then the second one recently came out just a couple years ago, actually.
Yeah.
And relatively good movies. Let's go ahead and get into it.
First one was.
Let's go ahead and get into it. First one, where do we start?
I mean,
story-wise, it was good.
Yeah.
For a little bit. They did the whole romance thing with Rick Flag and the old girl, Enchantress.
Yeah. And then the way they portrayed the Joker, like they made their love story a little too much of the story, I feel like. But
yeah, most definitely.
But oh god, the way they did the Joker alone was just enough to almost ruin the movie for me.
They made him seem more of a gangster compared to like a psycho clown or whatever.
Yeah,
he was he was too like thuggish.
Yeah, and with the tattoos and stuff and the face
tattoos,
I don't know, like it killed it for me. It really did.
You know, and then let's talk about Will Smith as Deadshot.
That was I don't know. That was almost kind of painfully awkward.
It was very painful for me, not because Will Smith is a bad actor, whatever, blah blah blah. He didn't portray the character much as that leader role of the Suicide Squad compared to the cartoons or any of the comic books.
I can see that because he's such a family orientated actor, and to see him in such a darker role, and I don't know, he didn't fit.
I did like that they kept the comedy down. It was funny. It had its funny parts, but they kept the comedy down to where it's not like it's an action comedy movie. You know what I mean? Action was pretty good. There was a lot of shoot 'em up kind of things, and then they had the big fight scene at the end.
And then the Enchantress's little like zombie guys.
Yeah,
those were kind of weird though. Yeah, because no faces or anything. I don't know. They were interesting. They were an interesting.
Let's talk about the overall characters. I thought they had the main core of the Suicide Squad characters there. You had Rick Flag.
Yeah.
They had Deadshot, had Harley Quinn.
Dad Killer Croc.
Yeah, Killer Croc. Yeah.
I'm getting tongue-tied.
They had Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
Which was pretty hilarious.
I liked him, but his Australian accent and all that, it made the character for me.
And then it was a different twist on how they brought all the characters together, because they had, each character kind of came out as a little dossier or whatever, gave them their stats and everything, showed them their abilities.
And kind of a reason why they would do this.
But then they also showed them how they got caught, how each and everyone got caught.
Batman whooping their ass on a couple
Batman
of them.
took out two of himself.
Joker and Deadshot.
Joker and Deadshot. And then had the Flash little cameo in there when he took out...
I think he took out Boomerang, didn't he?
Boomerang.
Yeah.
And then the others kind of showed up there.
Yeah. So theoretically, the Enchantress, she was just caught because of the heart. Like, it wasn't for them having her heart.
Well, she wasn't exactly a bad guy. The girl was just in like a little cave dicking around with shit she wasn't supposed to be dicking around with, and then became an Enchantress.
Possessed.
Yeah.
So.
The whole love affair with her and Rick Flag was kind of...
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. The idea of Rick Flag as a character was more or less like that, gung ho, all about America kind of character. He was a soldier.
Yeah.
That loved his country and everything else. He fought and did everything for the country.
The Master Chief of
or the
DC
Captain America, the Captain America version of that, whatever. So to make him kind of have a love story in there for the reason for his missions and all that, was kind of
offsetting.
Kind of offsetting.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a good take. Characters got killed.
Yeah.
So that was good. They didn't really marvel it up.
Right.
As we're talking about a DC movie. But yeah, people got killed, And so action was good.
The purple Lamborghini was a little over the top on that.
Yeah.
that whole thing, like
Will Smith killed it for me. I'm sorry, I hated the movie because of Will Smith.
Really,
he killed it for me.
It was just mainly the Joker thing. I mean, Harley Quinn. I mean, that was pleasant. I mean, they definitely played on every little boy's fantasy of Harley Quinn at that point.
But even with the whole Joker thing, for them to portray like Harley Quinn and Joker as this big, insane love story is totally not true. Like the Joker more or less manipulates Harley Quinn to do his bidding compared to him actually in love with her. I don't think the Joker's in love with anybody.
I was gonna say in the comics, if you follow those, hell, he had like 6 different Harley Quinns in the end or something like that. Like they're basically like, oh, that one died. Well, fuck it. Well, I'm gonna go get a new one.
He was more or less using her as an scapegoat while he went off, and sacrificed her. So for them in the movie to portray it like, oh, Joker's gonna do anything for Harley Quinn to save her and break her out of jail, he didn't care about that shit.
Nah,
not in the slightest. So
that was different.
Yeah, very different.
And that's the bad part about some of these comic book movies too. Is a lot of times they'll get out there and they'll try and make them, and they don't stay true to the comics at all. They just come up with some bullshit.
They do what
story
I call Hollywood it up. So, moving on to the second one.
Oh, fuck! I hated the second one. I watched that. Honestly, I watched it 1.5 times before this, and I was just like, honestly, I had a hard time following it. Like, with the way they were bouncing around between the teams and, like, the different, like, backstories. Or not necessarily backstories, but kind of that in-between time. Like, I don't know what the fuck Harley Quinn was doing in this one. Because, like, it seemed like she was bouncing around, like, love stories again on that one with that Scarface dude in one of the scenes.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you don't have to watch the Harley Quinn movie, but it's the Suicide Squad.
Birds of Prey.
Yeah, more or less plays a sequel to that particular movie. That movie is kind of in between that. First, let's talk about the directing style. So David Ayer directed the first one. He did End of Watch, and he did Bright on Netflix, the movie Bright on Netflix.
Yeah,
and then
that's actually pretty good.
He actually helped Christopher Nolan write the Dark Knight trilogy, and he did some other writings on the DC side of the movies or whatever. Yeah. So obviously his directing style is a lot different than James Gunn. So James Gunn took over Suicide Squad the second go around, and he's the one that did Guardians of the Galaxy and shit. So you
Makes
can probably
sense for the jumping around. And
so you can probably tell the directing styles are totally different compared to the two movies. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
James Gunn actually wrote and directed the second Suicide Squad movie all to himself. So that's why you get all the little quirky words and everything. All that's James Gunn. It's practically a violent Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I was gonna say it seemed like they tried to oversell the violence on it. It was almost like an Expendable movie. But with the Suicide Squad.
What I don't like about James Gunn is he tries to do. There's a lot more comedy into it, obviously.
Yeah, the shark was funny. I like the shark.
But he does these whole action comedies and then tries to change the genre in between the acts into something more dramatic. So as you could tell at the beginning of the movie, it's all comedy, it's half funny, blah blah whatever. Then as they play the story, it's starting to get more dramatic, and then towards the end, it's like, oh, here's this big dramatic moment.
Yeah.
That they try to make funny, And so
with the whole Project Starfish, or whatever it was,
which is an actual villain of the Suicide Squad. It's an actual, I guess, comic book or case that the Suicide Squad took on.
And that's why I don't like DC.
Yeah. What I wasn't expecting was how as many people got killed. Like twice as many people actually on the squad got killed compared to the first one. So the whole squad on the first one all got killed. That one part of the one squad that Rick Flag and Harley Quinn came with, all of them died.
Yeah, like right out the friggin' gate. Like the first, 20, 25 minutes?
It wasn't even that. It had to be like first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
They didn't even explain like their powers or who they are or whatever. They did a quick, how we're in a helicopter and this is who, this is who, this is who. But before we even got attached to any of the characters, they were all dead.
Pretty much. And the Highlander guy, how it starts. That's what he reminded me of, just sitting there like, or The Witcher, he between those two.
I mean, it was violent, which is good, because then it most definitely tells the difference between the different superhero companies from DC to Marvel. You know, it was most definitely more violent. Had a rated R rating.
Yeah. Which DC's always been known for more of the dark stuff anyways.
Yeah.
But it just felt like they overplayed it. Like it seemed like a try hard at that point of like, I'm going to try to make this as violent and vulgar as possible. And it's like, you just kind of take away from the entertainment that way.
Yeah. And so, let's talk story. It is a little hard to follow because they do a lot of bouncing around, especially at that very beginning of the movie.
And then the two different teams. And then they kind of, it has that like, okay, here's the team, and then here's the team right before it. So like you're seeing like right before tense of right before these action scenes, and then it goes like to the next team and same concept, and then John Cena.
I hated that Peacemaker character. Like I didn't like him.
It was such a stupid fucking character.
It's like which
like they ripped off something from Kick-Ass or something. Like I don't know. I couldn't get with it.
And then let's turn to the leader of the squad, more or less. So they brought in a whole new marksman.
Yeah.
Because the whole Will Smith thing kind of played off or whatever. You know, he either wants more money or he didn't like his character because everybody hated on him. He didn't want to do the next movie or whatever the fuck reason he had to not do the second Suicide Squad movie. Whatever. Anyway, so they brought in Idris Elba.
Yeah.
To play I guess a better marksman because his suit was badass.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And I guess he more or less assumes the role of that leadership Deadshot kind of take.
Yeah.
You know, given that all the other characters pretty much died. You know, there's like, I don't have time to name them off. Go watch the movie if you want to see specifically who's character. But they started with like 6 or 7 characters, and they only ended up with 3 or 2.
No,
3.
I think on his team, I think they walked away with 4 in total.
No, because even the shark died, right?
No, the shark lived.
Did he?
Yeah, he was getting ate up by those piranha things, but he
and he ended up getting killed by the star or something, right?
No, the polka dot guy.
Yeah. I did watch the movie.
I'm a fucking superhero.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I'll admit that part was funny.
And then it showed the destruction of the whole city with the star.
Yeah.
Killing everybody and all this other
shit.
And
how he'd like shoot stars out of his armpit and they'd collect on the faces. I don't know. And then the weird dialogue from the starfish thing too. Like he had some weird lines for it. Like,
well, I don't know if the star knows English. I guess he was communicating with the other through the soldiers, right?
Yeah.
And
but it's just I don't know. It was really I don't know. It was weird. It was. I honestly feel like it was kind of an awkward movie.
Well, I mean, like again, James Gunn is meant for those awkward movies and shit. Because I hated Guardians of the Galaxy.
See, I actually like the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I hated that fucking movie.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not excited.
Well, the first one was good. The second one was.
Well, they all sucked to me.
But
yeah, James Gunn doesn't do anything good for me. But I did like this movie, Suicide Squad or the Suicide Squad. Still a good movie. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
A lot of people died. Very violent, you know. And the comedy stuff was actually kind of funny.
It had its moments, but
it did have its moments.
Like between the two, I stand by the first one. I think the first one was way better, and I feel like story and action wise, I feel like the first one was better. With that being said, but
I thought the first one had a better writer.
Yeah.
Like if David Ayer did the second one, I would most definitely be more in tune with it.
Yeah.
You know.
But that second one, like the story, just to me, it kind of sucked, and the bouncing around thing, and then the way they did the character, like again with Harley Quinn on that one, it just felt like she was bouncing around, and you couldn't even really follow what the hell she was doing. But I guess, like you said, Birds of Prey.
Yeah, you gotta watch that Birds of Prey movie to even figure out what the hell's going on with her.
Yeah, it's just like the friggin' TV shows with Arrow and all that. It's like, oh, we're gonna force you to watch another.
Do an episode of Arrow eventually, but that's like 8 seasons that we have to watch, and I'm
that's
a can't do it all in a week.
Yeah. So great series though. I recommend it. Yeah. So Flash couldn't get behind.
But now we're just bouncing around. All right.
Yeah. But
still good movies. I I'm a huge Joel Kinnaman fan, so I hated to see that his character got killed
Yeah.
in the movie.
Especially by John Cena.
Yeah. So that.
But did you see John Cena?
Yeah.
Did you see him?
Yeah. Stop. Don't do that. It's hard to see that he's actually
In acting?
acting.
Yeah.
Because I don't think.
I mean, is wrestling not?
he does have a relevant career. I give him that. Like,
Yeah.
he's making himself in Hollywood with. He even got a whole Peacemaker series that I'd never seen. So
Right.
he's doing something
So,
as an actor.
yeah.
You know, maybe he could be
I
the
mean, he
next
made it
Rock,
in Fast
you know?
and Furious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he made it from one shitty
I feel
movie
like
to another shitty movie.
I feel like everybody's made it into that fucking movie
Yeah.
now.
But I mean, yeah. And then you saw a lot of minor characters in a big Hollywood picture film, so I thought that was kind of good. So they had some of the people that got killed in the first group. They got Michael Rooker.
Which one was?
He's
his?
the one that tried to swim away in the water.
Oh yeah,
They had Pete Davidson.
yeah.
You know, he spent 5 minutes of the movie. They had Nathan Fillion. So he's a big, huge voice actor, but he does some other, you know, TV roles and stuff like that. So to see him in a big movie film is pretty good. He was the guy with the arms.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The whatever the fuck powers DT.
Yeah.
What's his name? DTF or something like that, or
So, this is DTB or something.
I don't know.
Like,
plastic arms or some shit.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Like he
friggin'
unhooked his
mannequin or
arms
whatever.
and then
Yeah.
was like, yeah,
Just
and
start,
shot the shit out of him.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah. And then the javelin guy, who I don't know who the fuck that was.
Yeah, I don't know who that was either.
Yeah.
I was just so. But
I'm
yeah, I
looking-
forgot about old Mr. Mannequin over
Yeah.
there. I thought that was weird. Like the second I seen that, I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
So, and they start shooting his arms, and he's like laying on the ground, like rolling around. And,
And
I'm
then
just like,
I don't know if you knew, but they had Sylvester Stallone playing the shark.
"What's that him?"
Yeah.
No.
Well, maybe it was the voice of him. I don't know if he was actually in a shark suit or CGI suit that was actually doing the moving around shit.
I was the
But I
same
know
way
he
with
did the
Groot
voice.
originally with Vin Diesel. I was just like, when I found out, I was like, "Oh no shit!"
Yeah.
Like, so,
Yeah, it was a little weird.
huh?
And
Huh.
then,
I just couldn't see him as I mean, I guess that makes sense because the voice, like nom nom.
Yeah. Probably
So,
just did a day's work of voice acting and then
pretty much
cashed a check.
So, yeah,
that makes
that's what
sense.
happens when you get older and you're like, well, fuck, I need money. I'm gonna go ahead and do this shitty movie on the side.
How many Rambos can you do before you can hang it up, right?
I mean, he could have pulled a Steven Seagal and
This
just
is
made a
true.
fuck ton of indie movies that just suck. Sorry, I love you, Steven, but the movies you gotten yourself into, man. So,
We're gonna bypass that altogether.
well, he's a great actor. Like, he's
Back in the 70s.
well, hey, I feel like he was more of a badass than some of the other ones. Like, dude, Akito's a bad motherfucker. Like, but yeah.
So next week, next week,
Next week, what was it Rush Hour?
Rush Hour.
We're going to
Next week we're gonna be doing the 3 Rush Hour movies.
that'll be fun.
That should be fun.
I enjoy Chris Rock and
Chris Rock.
or Chris Tucker.
There you go.
So and then Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
So
Jackie. You're not gonna confuse him with Jet or.
yeah. There's too many damn Chris's in the Hollywood industry in general. Though.
Next week we're doing the Rush Hour movies. Jamie James, Associates Productions movie reviews. We'll catch you guys next week.